for it.
Last week, we told you the story of a woman who misplaced her laptop here at Salt Lake City International Airport. That laptop had some important medical information on it. Coming up in our story today, we'll tell you why she's a whole lot happier.
A follow-up tonight to a story we first brought you last week. The missing laptop has now been found.
Yeah, a Chicago woman lost hers while going through security at Salt Lake International. The specialist Alex Cabral first brought us this story on Friday. Alex joined us live. He's back at the airport tonight. And Alex, that laptop had a lot of important stuff on it, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did, Mike. You know, her daughter's going through a clinical trial at the University of Utah, and on that laptop is a lot of important medical information that wasn't backed up elsewhere. So she did the story with us as a long shot, thinking no way she would get the laptop back. But you know what? Sometimes even a Hail Mary can turn into a touchdown. Now, these right here are photos of her daughter, Aoife McIntyre. She has a rare genetic disorder that eats away at the white matter of her brain. Now, only a few hundred people in the world have this condition, and it unfortunately does lead to an early death. However, Aoife's mother, Margaret, was able to get her into that clinical trial at the University of Utah. Last week, they were heading back home to Chicago when the person helping with wheelchairs misplaced her laptop with someone else's and put the other laptop in her bag, and Margaret didn't realize it until she was on the plane. So we did that story, and wouldn't you know it, the person who has her laptop, his wife saw that story, got in touch with me yesterday, and we all connected to get Margaret her laptop back.
It just made my life so much easier. I mean, this summer has been so hectic with the clinical trial and everything with my daughter. It's just one of those things that I'm like, seriously, I can't believe I lost this. One more thing, and getting it back just means the world.
Now, coming up at our 6 o'clock newscast, we will talk to the wife of the man who discovered the laptop he had wasn't his. He's still on his business trip. And get this, Margaret has his laptop. It is a story with a happy ending and maybe even lifelong friends. Again, we'll have that story at 6 o'clock. For now, though, for Live at 5, I'm Alex Cabral.
We love happy endings, don't we?
Gosh.
We love them.
And you got to guess, like, would this have happened if we didn't do the story? So, Alex, great job.
Yeah, thanks, Alex.
Yep.
Well, Utah's Division of Wildlife Resources.
Domestic violence.
I can't believe I lost this. One more thing, and getting it back just means the world.
And against all odds, what one woman sees as a true miracle. How a story on KSL helped track down a missing laptop and the irreplaceable medical records inside.
This is breaking.
Early detection.
Here's a nice follow-up to a story we first told you about last week. In fact, Deanie and I are calling it the story of the day. Remember that missing laptop from Salt Lake International? Well, the one with all the all-important medical information for a Chicago woman. It has been found. This specialist Alex Cabral was on that story for us last week. He now joins us live this evening at the airport. And Alex, this is something else, isn't it?
It really is, Mike. It's more proof that there are good people in the world. Now, some of the information on this laptop, such as her daughter's medical history from her rare genetic disorder, that information couldn't be replaced because it wasn't backed up elsewhere. So this Chicago woman was really upset that it was misplaced. However, yesterday I got an email from another woman, and that's when everything changed.
Getting it back just means the world.
Margaret McIntyre was already hoping for one miracle involving her daughter. She never thought her second one, involving her laptop, would come true.
With everything in the world today, we need some feel-good stories.
And boy, does this one make you smile. Last week, we covered a story about how Margaret's laptop was misplaced at the Salt Lake airport. The person helping with her daughter's wheelchair put someone else's laptop in Margaret's bag by mistake after going through security. But she really needed her laptop back because of the information on it.
It has everything to do with my daughter's medical history, her clinical trial, the information they need.
They were in Salt Lake because that clinical trial is at the University of Utah. It turns out Lindsay Borines, who lives in Utah, knew all about a missing laptop because her husband found out he had someone else's after flying out of Salt Lake.
It did say Margaret's name, which prompted us to at least try and look on the internet for who she is, but there's a lot more Margaret McIntyres than I would have expected.
But when she saw our story online yesterday, interviewing a Margaret McIntyre about a missing laptop,
It was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we have it.
Maureen's got in touch with me. I connected her to Margaret, and long story short, the great laptop mishap was solved.
I was so glad to know that, we finally know who she is and that we were going to be able to connect and get it back to her.
I really think we're going to have a lifelong friendship, which is actually just a cherry on the top.
Yeah, and get this, the laptop that Margaret has actually belongs to Lindsay's husband. They just happen to misplace the two different laptops. Now, Margaret says she will be back here in Utah in a couple of weeks to go back to the University of Utah for her daughter's clinical trial, and it's at that time the two sides are planning on meeting to exchange those laptops. Pretty cool ending to this story.
I have a feeling we'll be there in a couple of weeks, too. Is that safe to say, Alex?
I hope so.
I do, too.
I hope
All
so.
right.
Yep.
Great story. Well done. Thank you, Alex. Hey, turning to your wallet tonight, Wall Street.